Here's a huge question right here. If you think that Bitcoin and Ethereum are going to take a dip and you know that it's going to affect the altcoins you have, such as Polkadot, Kusama, and Moonriver, how do you go about picking buyback points? Well, that's what we're going to cover for these three assets in this video. Let's jump in. No time to waste. All right, so we are staring at Polkadot price action on the weekly chart. All right. So when you're trying to pick, hey, where the heck are safe buyback points or most probable buyback points, what you do is you start with the weekly chart, right? And we are staring at the weekly chart. All you do is pick where you see candle bodies. So you see how this, candle body and this candle body align. These two align. These two, actually three align, and they align with, so five aligns with the bottom of this, six candle bodies, stuff like that. You start drawing lines. You don't want to draw too many, right? But something like this one, since it has one candle body, two candle body, three candle body, one wick, two wick, three wick, four wick. This is probably by far the most important one. So I'm going to make that one the boldest, right? So when you use the, so see how I'm doing this. I'm going to click here and I'm going to change the boldness. Using boldness, it helps you understand when you have multiple lines on your chart, which one you think is the most probable, right? So you start with weekly horizontals. Okay, then what you do is you go in and you can even remove price. So right where my cursor is, like usually if you hover over, you can see an eyeball. You can take that off, put on your EMAs, and the weekly what did I just do? The weekly 10 EMA in a bull run is the most common buyback point. Really, it's just the most no-brainer buyback point. So draw in the weekly 10 EMA if it's a bull market. Does this apply in a bear market? No. You actually kind of want to start shorting for any wicks above. Once you think a move above the weekly 10 EMA is running out of steam, that's when you actually want to take on shorts. In a bear market. So it's actually kind of inverse, but this is like literally the most important EMA there is. The weekly 10 EMA. So you draw it in. So you see how I've taken that and I drew this in, right, with a dotted line. Okay, it's not drawn in perfectly, obviously, but I drew it in, right? And then I go to the daily, since we're dealing with a dip, I drew over the daily 55 EMA, the blue one. And then the 4-hour 200 EMA, I also drew over that. So that's the orange one, right? So you draw them in. And then you can do something like go to the 1-hour chart, take off all your EMAs, and put price back on. This is the process you do for every single coin. It's really freaking simple, right? And now we are left with we're dealing with the 1-hour chart, yes, but we're technically not. We are essentially viewing the chaos within the 4-hour daily and weekly chart with weekly horizontals. And now we can start deducing where the best buyback point is. So just eyeballing this, from this horizontal to this horizontal, two of your three most important EMAs are here. When you think Bitcoin's going to dip and price is about right here, and you think, oh crap, Bitcoin's going to dip and price is already here, well, the 4-hour is going to be broken, and so will this horizontal. So I'm going to eyeball. So since the other two most important EMAs, so the blue line, let's zoom in, the blue line and the red line, blue line and red line are between these two important horizontals, you can bet your bottom dollar that for this dip, as long as the Bitcoin dip is roughly what you expect it to be. Could it go way lower than this if Bitcoin goes to 50K? Yes, you could also bet that, but you're going to have bounces along the way. You're going to be able to put stops in profit with the bounce here. So you can deduce here, okay, this is the most important horizontal. This is the most important EMA. Since they're so close, maybe it will just wick past the most important EMA and hit this horizontal. And guess what freaking has happened? Oh my gosh, look at that. Wow. Not that hard, huh? You literally just draw some horizontals on the weekly, make the most important one with the most touch points of wicks, candle bodies bold. If that happens to be close to a super important EMA, that's probably your best target point. However, is it guaranteed to hit that? No, because Bitcoin, for example, bounced off the daily 55 EMA, right? But altcoins typically suffer a little bit worse. So, and Bitcoin has not hit its weekly 10, but Polkadot has. And the weekly 10, honestly, without using leverage, in a bull run, if you see your asset hit the weekly 10 EMA and go significantly below the 4-hour 200 EMA, right after a couple drives down, it's not financial advice. I'm not a financial advisor. It's on with or without leverage. Without leverage, it's a no-brainer pickup. I mean, for the idea that you have an extremely high probability chance that within 3 weeks you're way in the green. Will you be in the green immediately? I'm not saying that, but with a monthly mentality, that's just a no-brainer over time. So that's all you do. And these are my 3 favorite EMAs for dips in bull markets, not in bear markets. This doesn't work during bear markets. This is volatility to the downside during bull markets specifically. That's how you do it. You use these 3 EMAs, set your horizontals, make the most important 1 or 2 bold, and then with a extremely strong probability where a bounce will go. Am I making sense? I hope I'm making sense. Maybe I'm just talking out of my arse. But anyway, hey, before we get going, I need you to flip your phone or get flipped off. Hey, Tim, what does that mean? It means literally your phone is horizontal, so flip it vertically, hit the like button. Hey, guess what? What's going to help me out even more? If you leave me a quick comment, even if it's a simple period without the tampon, or you yell out your favorite food, lasagna, because I'm Garfield the cat, or if you simply yell out your favorite coin like B-Prow or Trias or everybody loves Cardano, whatever you want to do, it's going to help me help you. And also, to help me help you even more, hit subscribe and hit the bell, new folks. Here's why you should hit the, and returning folks, make sure your bell is hit if you already subscribed. Here's why. This is time-sensitive information. If I'm going to help you walk through a more profitable crypto journey, you need to hit that bell, right? Because it's time-sensitive. So we are in this together. Smash that bell. Let's dive back into the charts. Okay, so I haven't prepared this for Kusama and Moonriver. So let's do this on those 2 assets, and then we will be cooking. All right, Kusama. So we're going to try to ignore this range. Once it breaks back into the range, it's going to be a great trading range, by the way, but it broke down out of it. All right, so let's start with the weekly. So step 1, weekly. Go to the weekly chart. Start looking where things align, like this aligns with that. That's going to be a pretty powerful one, actually. And with this wick, so you have a wick and 4 candle bodies, 5 candle bodies. So that is going to be a bold one. All right, so let's do that. So that's going to be resistance to the upside. So you can see that I'm not even looking at price. I didn't even know that price was below that. I'm just eyeballing important levels, right? I don't care where price is as long as I'm kind of close. All right, so the next one, I see these wicks reaching down to about the same point. This wick reaching almost up to the same point. So therefore so with my eyes closed here, I can anticipate that let's see, my left is your right. To the right, there's going to be candle bodies there or more wicks. So you get more wick, candle body, kablam. See that? All right. So I could anticipate that. I don't even know if that's below price, if that's going to be a dip point or if it's going to be resistance on the way up, but I'm going to put that on my chart somewhere about there. And that's also going to be a bold one. All right. Now I'm looking for candle wick. So this wick will probably align with candle bodies in the future. So, there you go. So there you go. So I will try to do a bet. So it's not all perfectly aligned, but it aligns pretty close. And I'm going to make that not so bold. So we're just going to make that a normal weekly horizontal somewhere like that. All right. And then you have these wicks here, wick, aligning with these candle bodies here roughly. So I'm going to put a sort of best fit line as best as I can around those points. So YouTube viewers, are you proud of me that I used shift? I held shift while I did that, made a nice straight line. Okay, so now I'm done with that. Now I need to put my EMAs on. I'm going to take price off so I can see the EMAs better, right? And now I'm going to use this. So you see this area, actually, I'm going to use this tool here. It's called Path. And I'm going to draw over the weekly 10. Maybe extend it just a tiny bit. Take a guess. Make it red. All right. Now I'm going to go to the daily. I'm going to draw over the 55. With the same path, and I'm going to put it blue because this is my color scheme, right? And new viewers, if you want to learn how to set up a chart like mine, here in about 30 seconds, I'm going to give you an exact link, because you honestly don't need to be clicking around with your money or even be in crypto if you don't know how to set up a chart. So I'm going to link you to that. So you would actually want to stop this video, hit that link, then come back to this video. And then the 4-hour 200 EMA, I am going to make a path over the orange line. That's my color scheme for 200. So no matter what chart I'm on, the orange is always the 200, the red is always the 10, the yellow is always the 21, so on and so forth. And I'm getting ready to show you a link how to set up a chart just like mine. It's going to make not just following my videos easier, but everybody's videos easier. Like anybody who talks about price, not just news. So most people following news, and you know who they are, all they do is shill altcoins or talk about altcoins after it's already run up, because they own that asset and they're trying to sell it to their viewership. It's not really good. So like KDA was just covered after how big of a 1,000% run? So shameful, so shameful. Anyway, but folks who talk about price is going to help you drastically follow them. So I took off EMAs. I go to the 1-hour chart. So even though I'm on the lower time frame chart, I'm technically not. I'm technically on a weekly, daily, and 4-hour chart with the chaos built in. And as promised, here is that link on how to set up a chart. It should be coming up right now. So click on that. And if you don't know how to set up a chart, you need to be clicking that and leave this video and then come back, because you don't even need to be, you don't need to own crypto if you don't know how to look at a chart. Unless it's Bitcoin. You can just buy blindly, I guess. Not financial advice, the Pokemon cards only. All right, let's jump back into this. All right, so now that we have this done, I honestly, I think a great buyback point would have been this line, because you have the weekly here. It's just below. I would have expected a wick below the weekly 10 and to hit this line. I would feel totally comfortable buying back around this line. Did it get the ultimate wick low? Absolutely not. And would this be a safe place to just like put on a 5x leverage long? No way. No way. This does not apply to leverage. You have to make these same guesses and then do the same thing on smaller time frames, like the 15-minute. You have to, it's almost like those Russian dolls where you have one doll and then you open it, there's another doll inside, you open it. Okay, when you play with leverage, you need to be going down to like the 4th doll. You have to do the same process over and over and over down to smaller time frames, right? Like, because it has to be very finessed, is essentially. But buying on spot, you can just do the first doll. Like, we're good to go. We're like, I open one doll and I mean, screw the rest. I'm lazy. I don't want to open all these dang Russian dolls here, right? So a good spot trade, without leverage, buying this back, this is statistically an extremely probably good buyback point for Kusama, and that line is about 372.50, right? 372.50. And when I say that, that means you have an extremely high probability that within 1 to 3 weeks you are well within the green. That's all it means. And just repeat this process for any coin, right? So let's go to Moonriver and let's give it a shot. All right, I also have ranges established here. All right, so we didn't really even need to guess what's next because it's within a range. So it's kind of breaking this rule here. Not a very good example. Darn it, Moonriver. All right, well, still. Yeah, and so Moonriver's too young to really have weekly horizontals. So just draw in the weekly 10, do this fast. Extend it 1. Make it red because it's the 10. All right, go to the daily. Draw that in. I forgot to take off price. That's okay. Does everybody forgive me? But it's way easier to look. If you take off price, it's so much easier to draw over that stupid line. And it probably took me a year to figure that, like to even think about that. Like, why don't I make my life easier by removing price? All right, and then I'm going to draw over the 4-hour 200 EMA. These are the 3. So again, these EMAs, like this rule with these 3 EMAs does not apply in bear markets. This is specific to dips in bull markets. I want to stress that so much, right? Okay, now you remove all the EMAs, you put price back on, you go to the hourly chart. Now you have, this asset's too young for weekly horizontals. So now you have this range established in this case, but if it breaks below the range, what we're doing here is we are using this setup that I just did here by asking the question, okay, if we're expecting a Bitcoin to drop, right? So if mover breaks below its range, you put on your crypto TA goggles and you ask, what's next? What's next down there? What's next? Where are buyers going to step in and buy this asset? This is all about the process of what's next. I can't stress that enough. And look what it did. Kablam. So you don't have any weekly horizontals to work with. So you just have the Big Daddy and his cousin Carl, the blue line, the daily 55. There you go. Good buyback points. Look how easy that was. See that? There you go. Nailed it. Now, I don't think this is traded on leverage. Once again, would I hit this if Mover were traded on, leverage? Would I hit this, buy orders for 25x leverage? No, you don't do that. These are spot trade targets. If you were to, now on leverage though, when I trade with leverage, I do use the same process. But again, you have to use the Russian doll theory. Okay, you do the same process, but over and over, like down to sometimes the 30, 15-minute chart to really finesse that, because even at a 0.5% move on just 5x leverage, I mean, that's 2.5% loss of whatever money you put into that one trade, right? 0.5%. And these coins move really fast. I mean, way more than 0.5% in just an hour. All right, so you have to really finesse stuff. And so that is the dip there. And will these dips maintain? No. So what happens if Bitcoin and Ethereum decide to tank more? So like I said, Bitcoin has not touched its weekly 10 EMA. What if it heads down there? Okay, so let's dive in the chart and just take a quick peek at what that would mean. Ooh, it got close. So if Bitcoin from right now went down a further, it's only 3%. So honestly, everything would probably, and so from its previous, that's only 1.5%. Yeah, honestly, those levels on altcoins would probably hold up. So honestly, so what's next for Bitcoin is the weekly 10 EMA. And if what's next happens, what does that mean repercussion wise or result wise for your altcoins? It most likely means they're going to revisit the low or squeak out a lower low. And do I see anything worse than that happening before a significant bounce? No. So even if Bitcoin truly does roll over here, all right, what's going to happen is for spot trade, for leverage, if it were to hit that, there's going to be a bounce. You could put stops in profit before things tank further if that were to happen. But I think that's highly improbable. We're in a bull market. This is a no-brainer buyback. Is it always perfect? No. Sometimes the weekly 21 is the no-brainer buyback. And guess what that aligns with? The previous market structure high. And what's a very common dip point? The previous market structure high. So that's why I made that video with the balloon thumbnail on YouTube. I said 50K Bitcoin is in play, whether you want to believe it or not, because everybody thinks incorrectly that the bull run's going to end this year, calendar year, which I just put a poll out on Twitter. And 40%, 43% of the respondents think it's going to be in this year. Folks, I mean, it's fine to think that, and that's a fine guess. It might honestly be better than mine. I don't know. Mine was actually August 2022 or longer. I think this market cycles, but even if you're one of those people who thinks that's going to happen, all right, you need to know, in the back of your head, that guess, don't believe it. Don't believe it's going to happen at the end of the year. Think that, hey, I think that's the most probable, but that's less than 50% probable, because it might be 40% probable that's going to be end of the year in your mind, right? But you need to identify it as 40% probable. The next most probable scenario is the bull run ends in February, March. That's 30% probable. Now we're at 70% total out of 100, right? And 30% is close to your 40% of most likely. So that's why you shouldn't believe it, right? You should try to identify the probabilities of anyway. So with the idea that this is the bull run, right? We are in a bull run. We're not doing some type of silly double top, which almost never happens, which is possible. So I'm keeping that in the back of my mind as a possibility, but it's a very small percentage, right? So the idea that Bitcoin has one more drive down to hit this is definitely in play, and it'll be a bounce. And once I'm in profit on my trades, I will set my stops in profit, anticipating the strong possibility, maybe a 20% chance, 15% chance, but that's double digits, that then it rolls on over one more time. So I'm out of my trades. I took profit. I now have more cash, and now I can buy things even lower with more cash, expecting the possibility of Bitcoin to roll over to 50K. So that's what's next. Now, what does that mean for your altcoins? What's next? Well, I mean, your all of your EMAs EMAs. So if Bitcoin goes down to 50K, your altcoins aren't going to have any EMAs down there for the most part. Maybe like the weekly 89 if it has the price history to do that, but stuff like Mover doesn't have any. So you essentially have to use weekly horizontals for younger assets. But if your asset that you're looking at for the what's next if Bitcoin has 50K, you're going to be looking at like the weekly 21, the weekly 55, and the weekly 89 essentially. Yeah, that's what. And now if your altcoin's postured super high like Phantom or Luna, then you'd probably get a bounce at the daily 200. So it depends on your coin's posturing relative to its current, let's say, daily 200 EMA. If it's way over it, okay, daily 200 EMAs like Luna and Phantom and Solana, that would be that'd probably be where they'd bounce if Bitcoin were to head to 50K. But a lot of assets like Dash and XRP and, really Theta is right at its daily 200 EMA. So what would be its what's next? Well, not the daily 200. It's right at it already. It's obviously going to go below if Bitcoin goes to 50K. So its what's next is going to be totally different, right? It would be a deeper EMA as long as it has the price history. If it's 89 weeks old, you would be looking at the weekly 21, the weekly 55, the weekly 89, and that's about all you'd have, and weekly horizontals for the what's next in that case. So I hope this video was useful for you. Leave me a comment down below if you haven't already. Let me know, hey, was this useful or not? Say, actually, no, Tim, you suck. Everything you do sucks, whatever. Let me know your thoughts, even if it's bad. I want to know. And that's how I can improve myself, improve the videos and the content, improve writing for you. But without your feedback, I can't do that. So, hey, new viewers, hey, there's going to be a couple videos popping up here in a few seconds. They're two of the 3 most important videos that I've ever made. So it's in a playlist of only 3 videos. So when these pop up, choose one, watch it. It can greatly and drastically increase the amount of profit that you experience in your hopefully profitable crypto journey, because it's going to make you understand crypto so much better. So they should be up now. Click one. And if you're new, hit subscribe before you leave. Hit that bell, because hitting the bell, this is time sensitive information. It helps me help you. We are in this together, and you just got Timified.